This is Trincomalee. This is an area of Sri Lanka that not that many tourists go to, but it is well worth visiting. It is one of the largest and safest harbours in the world, which means that it has so much history of warring empires, World War II, and it has a lot of the Civil War history as well. It's situated in the north of Sri Lanka, in the majority Tamil area. So it was one of the areas that was very heavily affected by the Civil War. But today, around 15 years after the Civil War ended, it is becoming an up-and-coming Sri Lankan travel destination. So in this video, let's look at the rich history of Trincomalee and what it is like these days and why you should plan a visit. We've just driven up the road a little bit and we've arrived at the Kanniya hot springs. I'm not too sure of the history about this, so I'm going to have to ask Tanushka, our guide, to give me a little history lesson.
There are 7 hot water springs and the average water temperature is hovering around 42 centigrades. And for Hindus and Buddhists, especially for Hindus, this place is very sacred for them. So they will come here and have a bath and take the holy water. And you can see up there's a Buddhist temple.
Oh, yeah.
And behind us, there's a Hindu temple.
Oh, okay. Cool.
In the ancient time, both religions, both community, they lived in peacefully. But when things got rough, people fight over each other.
Yeah. Tamils and Sinhalese people lived together peacefully from the 2nd or 3rd century BC until the time of independence. After independence, a few laws were put into place, including making the main language of the country Sinhalese, and there was also a wave of really horrific violence against Tamil people, most predominantly Black July, which was when Tamil businesses were destroyed and targeted in Colombo and throughout the country. People have likened that to Kristallnacht in Nazi Germany. The Tamil Tigers, also known as the LTTE, were formed in response to all of this violence. While there was definitely a lot to be angry about, they were also an extremist group. One of the first groups to use suicide attacks as part of their attacks, and they also forcibly recruited boys and girls as young as 13 years old. There was ultimately a ceasefire in 2002, which lasted until 2006. And for a few reasons, war broke out again, and it didn't stop until 2009. So I'm going to go into this a lot more in my next video, but now you know a bit of a background towards the Civil War and why it's so important that this place is in harmony these days. So we've got this Buddhist statue here. We've got a Hindu temple over there. This is a sacred place for both Hindus and Buddhists, and it is nowadays a lot more peaceful than it was.
It belongs to both.
Belongs to both.
Both, and most probably it is for Hindus.
Okay, yeah.
Because it goes with their mythological story, Rama Ravana story.
Okay, yeah.
So Hindus have more thing to
more,
say.
More claim to it, yeah.
Say here, but there was some Buddhist ruins,
okay,
Buddhist temples as well as Hindu temples. But the both parties destroying each other and trying to make war out of that. Now the things are settled down.
Yeah.
And now we have to develop this place.
Yeah, it's peaceful now.
Peaceful.
Yeah,
now.
good. The holy water is used by both Hindus and Buddhists today, side by side, which does show Muslims as well. Oh, really? Okay, so it's a, so it's a, and that's a real nice, like, show of religious cooperation, isn't it? So yeah, I hope that shows how far Trincomalee has come. We're going to head into the city and have a little look at some of the colonial history there. We've just come out from the springs and have found this bus. And I've been wanting to have a look at a proper Sri Lankan bus the whole trip so far. Now, I think these are old school buses and they're used a lot for your sort of intercity transportation. A lot of them look sort of like this, like kind of jazzy, but then you do have some like this. And I just think this is absolutely fantastic. It is a proper party bus. Look at this from the front.
Sound system.
Yeah.
I think it's turned on.
Hi. Oh, this is so cool. So we have made it to the fort. So this is now known as Frederick's. What is it known? Frederick.
Fort Frederick.
Fort Frederick. And that is the Dutch name, but it has also been a Portuguese, British and French port. So this is a huge complex these days. Do people live in this area now?
Yes, there are some little stalls, so those
Yeah.
people are living in, and there are some small snack
Okay.
places.
Yep,
So,
yep.
they live.
Yeah.
And there are people on the Hindu Kovil up there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we call it pundits.
Yeah?
They live there, and the people who supposed to do daily rituals for the temple is also staying there.
Okay,
Not
Yeah.
living, they are staying overnight
yeah.
to protect and for the rituals. This fort was initially built by the Portuguese, then it was developed by the Dutch, and British developed it and maintained it as a fort. And it holds significant because it is very near to the natural harbour of Trincomalee, and it holds significant naval value to the Silk Route as well as in all war affairs. So especially the British want to hold it. In Second World War, Japanese try to bomb down this place, and there are oil tanks built by the British, 106 of them. At the moment, 7 is destroyed, 99 tanks are still there, and Japanese managed to hit one of those oil tanks on the Second World War airstrike.
So Trincomalee has been a very important port that has been wanted by many people, and this has been the definition of its history. It's the home of the Koneswaram Temple. This is a sacred Hindu temple that's been vital for Tamils since the 3rd century BC, although the original was destroyed. It's always been Tamil dominated, and it connected to lots of ports in India throughout its history. However, during the European colonisation period, it was wanted by all of the Europeans. The first people to come here were the Portuguese in 1623. They actually destroyed the original Koneswaram Temple, which is wild. It had been here for like over 2,000 years, and they just toppled it into the sea. So let's go and have a little look at this temple today. This is not the original temple, but it's been a sacred place for Hindus for thousands of years. The main restoration happened just after independence in 1950. And now it remains one of the most important Hindu temples in all of Sri Lanka. So we've already been to a couple of Buddhist temples in Sri Lanka, and this one looks very, very different. I've not actually been to India, but I have been to Hindu temples in Sri Lanka and Malaysia. And I can see the artwork, all these traditional Hindu deities. So this temple does represent the Tamil population of this part of Sri Lanka. So let's go in and have a look. Can I ask what's happening in there?
There is a daily offering is given to the Lord, God who belongs to this temple.
Yeah.
So there are morning prayer time, morning offering time, and midday offering time. After that, now the afternoon offering time is started.
Yeah,
So
cool.
that's why you can hear the music and the pundits and the servants of this Hindu Kovil running around and making the daily ritual.
It's a very important Hindu
To
temple, isn't
Hindus,
it? Yeah.
because it's devoted to Lord Rama and Ishvara and Krishna, gods of Hindus.
Do they have to do the offering every day?
Yes,
Yeah.
the devotees and the temple staff, pundits and the staff has to do it.
Okay.
It's a daily ritual.
And this leads down to the sea. I don't know if we can get a view of the harbour from here. Maybe if we go round. Oh, okay, so this kind of loops round and then you end up back around here. Oh wow, you can see some of the procession floats being made there. And I don't know what angle I'm approaching Trincomalee from. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to see the natural harbour from here. But let's have a little walk and see. Can't see it so much from here, so we'll have to try and get down to the harbour and I'll show you there. There are so many deer here, spotted deer. And this is the fort, the sort of remains of the fort here. So it's a really fascinating place. You've got layers of the history. You've got the Tamil history, and then you've got all of the European colonial history, and then that's obviously fused with modern Sri Lanka, which is, I mean, this city is a fusion of, yeah, you can see all the remnants here. We've got some cannons. So the Portuguese arrived here in 1622. And they built their fort here, which is the fort that is still in place today. They wanted to fortify the harbour so that other colonisers didn't grab it. But that didn't work because in 1649 the Dutch East India Company arrived. They built Fort Frederick in the same place, and that is what the fort is still called today. They were here until 1672, and then the French appeared. They were actually only here for 2 years, and then it became Dutch again. And then after that, the British arrived. The British and French kind of seized it a few times, but from 1784, during the Napoleonic Wars, it became definitely British. It was a big reason why Britain wanted the whole of Ceylon or Sri Lanka. It was the perfect harbour, it was naturally deep, and it was very safe. It was great for ships to stop en route to farther afield destinations because it was positioned between India, Arabia and Malaya. So this made it a major Asian naval base during the British colonial period. And after the fall of Singapore in 1942 during the Second World War, it was the main British Eastern Fleet base. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. The infantryman has his pride and moral. This is the 2nd Battalion of the Gajaba Regiment headquarters. So even now it is very military. It is more and more becoming a tourist town. Still not somewhere that is on every Sri Lanka itinerary, but becoming more so. So this is the entrance of the fort. So it's all the fort where we've been. Even the temple is still kind of in the fort. But this is the real entrance where it properly was, and you can see up there, Anno 1676, and that was the year that the Dutch took over and built this fort. The Portuguese fort isn't really here, although I'm guessing some of the structure is probably remains of the old fort, but this is all very much Dutch built. So that's the historical entrance, and these are the fortifications. So we're off to the harbour. I don't think it's somewhere where a lot of tourists go, and there's not really any attractions there, so a bit tricky to explain where we actually wanted to go, but I think we're going in the vicinity. Perfect. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye. Cool. Right, we made it. Experience the breathtaking beauty of the Ocean Breeze Walkway in Trincomalee, where the Indian Ocean's gentle waves caress the shores of Sri Lanka's eastern coast. This is the natural harbour, or part of it at least. You can see some industry going on up there. I mean, this harbour is huge. When I read, I think it was the 5th largest in the world, but it was not just because of its size, it's also because it was such a safe harbour. And it was somewhere that European colonial powers liked a lot because they wanted to have somewhere where they could stop when they were travelling across the Indian Ocean. Really, it was the ideal place because it was a large harbour, it was a safe harbour, and it was in a really strategic location between the Middle East, India, Malaya, and ships needed to stop then. Ships couldn't just sail through like they do now. So it was very strategic, and it wasn't the only reason, but it was a big reason why the British wanted to be in Sri Lanka, or Ceylon as it was called then, in the first place. Another little Trincomalee nugget for you that I wanted to share from my Kindle. So this is from a book called The Elephant Complex. I've been reading it. It's a really good history of Sri Lanka as told by someone who's travelling around there. And he had a little story about Trincomalee and how it maybe played a small part in changing the fate of the world. So I'm going to read it out because I can't quite remember all the details. In late 1800, one Colonel Wellesley had called by and stayed a couple of months. At the time, he was suffering a terrible case of Malabar itch, for which the fort's remedy was a concoction of sulphur and lard. To no one's surprise, this failed to shift the itch, and so the colonel missed out on his next campaign, an expedition to Egypt. The ship on which he was due to sail, the Susanna, never made it up the Red Sea and sank with all its hands. I like to imagine that, but for Trinco's cure, Britain would never have had her Duke of Wellington, and the rest of the century would have looked a lot more French. So yeah, the Duke of Wellington was here, ended up surviving because he was here. So history could have changed its course. It's getting dark, and I think we need to find a tuk-tuk to get us back to our hotel. So we're going to try and order a tuk-tuk on Uber. I'm not too sure if it's going to work. I'm just loading my Uber app now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it works.
Yeah.
Oh, mate,
Where is it?
A lot easier.
Amaranthe Bay Resort and Spa.
We paid 500 rupees from the fort to here, and it was about a 10-minute journey.
Yeah.
We didn't haggle because we were like, well, that's £1.20. And it felt bad giving them any less.
Yeah, definitely.
So it'll be interesting to see what the price is.
Yeah. It's only getting cars up. The cars aren't expensive.
How much is the car?
1,200.
1,200.
Yeah. But I did download another ride-hailing app. Pick Me Sri Lanka. Let's see if it works. I don't know my number.
Right. So we order a car or we plug down quickly.
We'll order a car.
Order a car.
All right, let's see.
Like 1,200, that's like £3.
Yeah.
Like a 20-minute journey, I think. It's not bad. From a Western perspective, it's obviously cheap, but it kind of shows just, unfortunately, the Sri Lankans have gone through a lot, not just conflicts, but they had a lot of economic trouble in the last couple of years. There were big protests and riots and attempted coups, etc. in Colombo, and then gasoline shortages. They're still really struggling.
Ooh, back in the tuk-tuk. As it always happens in the tropics, the lights have just been turned off. It was light a minute ago, and now it's dark, so it is time to head back to the hotel. Now, a couple of admin things while I'm in the tuk-tuk. I'm writing up all of my Sri Lanka travel guides on my website, clairesfootsteps.com. So if you want to scan this QR code, it will take you through to all of my Sri Lanka travel guides and travel articles. So if you're planning a trip to Sri Lanka or are at all interested in visiting Sri Lanka, then definitely check those out. The link will also be in the description, and also in the description you will find links to all of the travel products and services that I use to plan my trips, including my insurance provider Safety Wing and a money off code for Aerolo, which offer eSIMs. Hey.
Doing oil delivery for these guys.
My car.
Okay, your workshop. Oh, cool.
I'm not an auto driver.
You're not a... Oh, so you work in the shop?
My workshop.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so you're not a tuk-tuk driver?
Some people too much price.
Ah.
600 okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Are you from Trincomalee?
Oh yes.
Yeah?
Trincomalee. That's my workshop.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're a mechanic?
Yes, I'm motorbike mechanic.
Oh, nice. And tuk-tuks.
How was it Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it's
We
nice.
love it, yeah.
We like it.
Yeah.
Everyone is very friendly,
Yeah.
very helpful as well.
We love the food.
Yeah, the food is amazing. Nice to meet you, Mishanda. I'm Richard.
Richard.
Yeah. And Claire.
Claire.
Madam?
My name is Claire. Yeah. Everyone's so nice here. Hello again. Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Good morning. It is the next day now. I'm just outside my hotel room, which I'm going to show you around a little bit later. We're going to head to the Commonwealth War graves near here in a moment. But before we go, there's one more thing about Trinco's history that I wanted to talk about. And that is the 2004 tsunami. Everyone over a certain age knows where they were when they heard about the 2004 tsunami. I remember I was at my grandma's house. I was only 11 years old, and it was devastating news to hear about the thousands of lives lost in Indonesia, Thailand, and Sri Lanka was very hard hit as well. But a lot of the area that was hit was Tamil Tiger territory, so it was along the east coast of Sri Lanka, which at that time was part of Sri Lanka that the Tamil Tigers were trying to make its own separate country. Now, Trincomalee was a very hard hit area. Around 1,000 people died here, and the waves came 2 kilometres inland, which is really, really far. And again, it just goes to show about the harbour and about how low it is, I guess, and how wide it is, and it enabled this huge wave to come so far into the city. So it would have affected all of this area as well. Now, the tsunami was obviously a horrific natural disaster for everyone involved. And you think, especially when people here and, you know, people all over the country had spent so long fighting a brutal civil war. This was during the ceasefire time. But it was actually the unequal distribution. Oh, it's just starting to rain quite heavily, so I'm just going to head back to our balcony. And I'll finish explaining from there. So the tsunami was obviously a tragedy for everybody involved. In Sri Lanka, it was thought there was quite an unequal distribution of aid offered, with people in the east of the country, in Tamil controlled territory, didn't get enough aid compared to the rest of the country. And this caused more tensions to stir up, and it was actually a big reason why the ceasefire stopped in 2006 and war broke out again. We're going to talk loads more about the war and how it ultimately ended and what it's like today when we're up in Jaffna. But I just wanted to mention that bit here because I felt it was quite important because here was so badly hit by the tsunami. Right, we're going to head to some more graves now, and then hopefully, if the weather brightens up, we will be seeing a bit more of the contemporary side to Trincomalee. So the hotel that we're staying at is about a 7-minute walk away from the Trincomalee War Cemetery. This is a World War II cemetery, 1939 to 1945, and there will be Commonwealth graves here. So just working out how we can get in. So Trincomalee was obviously very affected by the Sri Lankan Civil War, but also very much so affected by the Second World War. It was one of the British military's most important ports. In fact, after the fall of Singapore in 1942, it became the kind of hub for the British Navy in Asia. And because of this, it was obviously a very strategic target for the Japanese in the Indian Ocean area. After Pearl Harbor, the Japanese actually planned a Pearl Harbor style attack on Trincomalee, using the same tactics that they used in Hawaii. But what they didn't realise was that the people of Trincomalee were already expecting this attack, so they actually completely evacuated the city. So it caused a lot of damage on infrastructure and on ships, but it didn't actually really cause much loss of life. So these graves will not be from that attack. Let's have a little look at them and see where the casualties come from. So we've got here R. Johnson RM, HMS High Flyer. I've just looked it up and it said High Flyer was the name of the Royal Navy shore establishment in Trincomalee, Ceylon until 1958, and he died in 1945. We've also got here HMS Rotherham. Now HMS Rotherham was an R-class destroyer of the British Royal Navy during the Second World War, and she was used in 1942, equipped as a flotilla leader, decommissioned in 1945.
1942, April 9 came to Japanese battle in Trincomalee attack. This time, there are 15 ships sunk with the UK ship, HMS Hermes, HMS Warwick. There are many.
That was in 1942.
1942.
Yeah, the Japanese attacked
Japanese.
them. Right. So a lot of these graves are from.
There are
from that time.
365 graves, 4 unknown soldiers. The youngest 18, older one 63.
Oldest one was 63.
Wow.
And the youngest was 16.
18.
18.
18.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you work for the Commonwealth War
Yeah,
Graves?
I am working by the Sri Lankan government botanical garden.
Yeah.
The Commonwealth War gives some money fund by the this is a maintain.
Right, okay, to look after it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you've done a good job.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it
nice.
looks really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Cool. Do you get many visitors from the UK?
UK, Australia, some Australia,
Yeah.
Holland,
Yeah.
French, some coming.
Some people maybe have relatives. Yeah.
This year,
Mhm.
one person with the Australian, one person from
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and how many did you say? How many graves?
365.
365. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some malaria, not war, some die malaria, fever. Some is a wartime death, 1942, April 9th, April 10th, April 1942. Some is a war period time wounded, some hospital after, right? Some later, 57,
Right. Yeah.
1961,
Oh,
last
okay.
one
Yeah.
1961 buried.
1961.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And what happened in 1945? It seems there's a lot from.
Is a 1945 is a injured wounded soldiers,
Oh,
some
I see.
hospital. There are big hospital ship here this time.
Yeah.
Oh, in Trincomalee.
Trincomalee.
Oh,
big
I see. So
hospital
they would
ship.
have been fighting.
Big hospital.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's your name?
I am Pradeep.
Philip.
Pradeep.
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 Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Thank you.
Pradeep.
I've got the history straight now. So the Japanese attacked Trincomalee 4 times, and they did have some advance warning. The fatalities weren't as bad as they could have been because they suspected that something was going to happen, and they did evacuate a lot of the city. But obviously, it did still cause fatalities. So a lot of these are from these Japanese attacks, but not all of them. So some of them were men who'd been fighting in the Indian Ocean and had come to Trincomalee to the hospital. Quite a lot of the fatalities were from 1945, and even some of the fatalities were even in the 50s, and I think there's even one in the 60s, which are from people who died of their war wounds or war illnesses. A lot of people died of illnesses like malaria, other tropical diseases that people didn't have any immunity to. And this all comes back to Trincomalee's real importance as a port. So because it was such an important natural harbour, a huge port, a huge naval base, that's why the British were here in the first place, and that's why it was an attack target for the Japanese. I've also heard that there's a few women's graves here, so I'm just going to try and find one. Oh, Daphne died at naval headquarters.
Fever and malaria.
Oh, okay, yeah,
This graves.
yeah. Why was she in the Navy?
Hospital workers.
Okay, she worked in the hospital. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Is there any more ladies or just her?
Another, there are
Yeah.
nurses. Two
Nurse as well.
Two nurses
Two
Indian.
nurses, yeah. Yeah.
Another, they are here.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Andaman.
interesting. So that was an interesting, albeit sad, slice of World War II history. Very close to our hotel, actually. This is quite a nice little street. We've got some little local restaurants here, but very tourist friendly. Local food, but then also things like tuna sandwich. Mixed seafood platter. We are by the sea after all. So due to the Civil War largely, tourists didn't really come to Trincomalee until around 2015. A book I've been reading called Elephant Complex. I'll link it in the description of this video if you want to read more about Sri Lanka. He was here in 2015, the author, and he talks about how people hadn't really seen tourists in a while. People were quite surprised to see him. But nowadays, it is becoming a tourist destination. It is still nowhere as popular as places in the south, but it's becoming more and more well known for its quite hi. But it is becoming quite well known for its unspoiled beaches in particular. So more and more accommodation options have started to pop up, ranging from all budgets. We walk past a hostel, but we are staying in somewhere that we don't normally stay. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, this is a press trip. We are very kindly hosted by the Sri Lanka Tourism Board. So let me show you this hotel, which really does show the modern side of Trincomalee, which is becoming a really welcoming tourist destination. So this is the Amaranthe Bay Resort and Spa. Rich has gotten a bit lost. You alright? You got lost?
Yeah, no, that's someone else's.
Oh, alright, let's not go there then. And it is absolutely lovely. So this opened 10 years ago, which is when tourists kind of started coming back to Trincomalee. And honestly, the room is pretty wild. I'll show you in a minute if we ever find it. Look at this. You've got this huge bed, TV, super spacious room, nice bathroom, and you may have caught a glimpse of this already, but the piece de resistance, this jacuzzi, look at it. And then out here is the pool. We've got a garden room, so we're right by the pool, which I think we're gonna go and jump in. I will check back in the morning when I'm gonna show you more of the tourist side of Trincomalee today. It is raining. So we were supposed to go on a boat trip this afternoon, but the rain has started again. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to go out and see the coastline of Trincomalee, which is meant to be really, really beautiful, and it's meant to be one of the underrated, unvisited beaches in Sri Lanka. So hopefully I'm going to be able to source some photos and overlay them here so you can see what it actually has to offer here. Trincomalee is a fascinating, historic city that not so many tourists visit in Sri Lanka, and I think both the history and the beaches, if you get the weather for it, and the kind of up-and-coming tourist culture make it somewhere that's well worth visiting. It's very local, but it's also a very comfortable stay here. The locals are super friendly. There's more and more hotels and tourist facilities, and like anywhere in Sri Lanka, the food is amazing. So I highly recommend adding Trincomalee to your Sri Lanka itinerary. It is relatively quiet at the moment, but it might not be forever, so get visiting here. Right, we are going to head up to the Jaffna Peninsula now. We're heading up there a little bit early because of the weather, so hopefully it's a little bit better right up in the far north. And I'll be creating another whole video about Jaffna. So do stay tuned for that. I've got to finish packing very quickly. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you're sticking around, I recommend checking out this video about Sigiriya, which is probably the most famous attraction in Sri Lanka. And if you want to watch my Jaffna video, make sure you're subscribed because it will be up next. Thanks so much, and I hope I see you next time. Bye.